Plum couldn't be here tonight. He's sitting mournfully at home thinking about how everyone around him is accomplishing so much. That his uncle cousin is Pope, that some dude like 5 years older than him is getting paid 1.8 million American dollars to be our new athletic director, and that he can't even make the bio line on our Twitter profile. But hey, let us hashtag never forget that he was in the Honors College. You're listening to Can't Read, Can't Write. Welcome back to another episode of Can't Read, Can't Write, the podcast that proves Spartans can talk. I'm Mike Jones and was not expecting to be on camera during that video. And I'm joined, of course.
We're still on camera? Oh, that's usually my moment to like do whatever I want, before we go live. Okay, good to know. Good to know.
And that voice over there is, of course, Mr. Honors College exemption Kevin Greck, who's also wearing a shirt that appears to be monochromatic with his skin tone.
Oh yeah. It's all one thing. It's just straight on through. I found this over the weekend. This is the Mun Ice Arena February 2020 whiteout t-shirt. And for those of you, the vast majority of you listening on the podcast, it's awful. Oh man. So this is the last anyone will ever see of this shirt. I think it's the first probably that I'm ever actually seeing it. But oof, bad.
Were you at the game?
Well, yeah, obviously that's how you get it. But for those, that aren't seeing, yeah, well, it's about to get goodwilled. They took the MSU hockey script and they made it white, and then they put it on a white t-shirt. I guess if it's going to be a white out, you want it to be as white as possible, but still.
Hockey doesn't need that.
Yeah, that's right. Hockey brings that all on its own. You don't need the t-shirt for that. So, Jonesy, did you get the Honors College exemption? Have we ever talked about this?
As in, I was exempted from having to go to it.
So I was never in the Honors College, but freshman year, the Honors College gave me exemptions where I could take certain honors courses. And I think it probably went so poorly that not only did they take that right away from me, they probably just removed it. It's a possibility from the Honors College entirely. I don't know if it happens anymore, but I
was looking for something in my second year and people said that it can't be done.
Like, Greg roll, that's dead. That's no longer happening. So bye-bye.
No, I managed to, as we've discussed on the pod, fuck things up just perfectly fine on my own. So
Here. Yeah, I did as well. Just beyond Honors College. Didn't need that at all.
But I appreciate you swinging for the fences, and that's what counts.
Yeah. And we go big.
We
go big. This whole podcast is about going big and having a high T count and all of that stuff. Jonesy, there's stuff happened this week. Am I right?
You are indeed. And we should dig into all of it. But before we do, we, of course, want to thank everyone for listening. And if we could ask a small favor, please share the pod with Spartans in your life. Rate, review, and subscribe wherever you get podcasts. And, of course, catch us on Twitter and Instagram at Spartan_pod, or on Blue Sky, where it seems like most of our listeners are now interacting at Spartan Pod. Greg, what are we chatting about this week?
Well, first we go behind the green wall, where football always leads, and this week it earns it. We get some high school boys in town. They're coming through. Then I don't think there's anything about basketball. Oh, Wojcik's kid. I didn't put Wojcik's kid on the outline.
Oh, yeah.
We'll talk about more additions to the basketball team. We'll just shoot that one from the hip. But the big news in the athletic department is the new director, Mr. J, not J-A-Y, just simply J. Why waste ink?
It's short for Jason, right? Or
who knows? If it's not on, we'll get to this. If it's not on the Georgia Tech bio page, no one knows. Mr. J-Bat from Georgia Tech, it seems, is going to be announced tomorrow as the new Michigan State athletic director. So we'll cover all of that. Then we'll go off Grand River, where we didn't prepare anything. I don't know if there's anything you want to talk about. And then, as always, we will take your social media questions.
All right. Well, so let's start with our dear friend Braylon Hodge, linebacker out of the state of Colorado. I believe, Kevin, correct me if I'm wrong, he's the 9th ranked player in the state of Colorado. Is that right?
Wow. Impressive. 9th ranked. Yes. According to the 24/7 leaderboard, the 9th best player of the state of Colorado.
45th ranked linebacker in the country.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a high 3-star at an 88 by 24/7. And I think, by way of peer groups, we're in a better spot than maybe we had been before, in that at least a couple other Big Ten teams were interested in him, notably Iowa and Minnesota. Iowa, I think, is the one that, you'd have a hard time convincing me that we shouldn't. Iowa's turned out enough good defenses that we should take that as somewhat of a meaningful recruiting win.
Yeah. Also, Utah offer. You got your Utahs. You got your San Diego States. You
San Jose State, yeah.
And San Jose State, yep. Yeah. You got your Colorado States. You got your North Dakotas, presumably at Hoople. We're going to still cover off on that. It is a better peer group than what we have been seeing before. Not to take anything away from the other guys, but we are headed back in the other direction. 24/7 also has him both as a 3-star and a 4-star, depending on where you're looking. He's a composite 3-star when you look at his profile, but he's listed as our 1 4-star if you look at MSU's full recruiting ranking. So he exists in a space in between. So yeah, you wanted some juice, dear listeners? Here's your juice. Here's your juice, juice fiends. All right.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
You want to talk about some juice? Guess where MSU is now with this maybe 4-star commitment in the 2026 24/7 Big Ten recruiting rankings. Guess, Mike Jones. Guess.
17th.
18th. Still 18th. 18 out of 18. So great. Dead last in the conference. My word. Now, a lot of that is volume stuff. Like Purdue, Northwestern, Wisconsin, like they're not exactly pulling in 4 stars and 5 stars. But it is concerning that it's us and Nebraska at the bottom with one 4-star and 3 3-stars. Maryland. Yikes. I don't know if you've noticed this, but Maryland's got a 5-star recruit. So they're above us. Purdue's above us. Northwestern's above us. UCLA's above us. It's tough sledding out there right now. So
we are in official visit season. So you would hope and expect this to pick up. And so
we're putting out offers, right? There's 1 trillion offers out there. You and I were talking earlier today something about a 5-star offer
for the class of 2027. Yes. And I think we started I think your response was, I would hope so. And I said, I don't think they've actually offered like all of the 5 stars. This seems to be a bit more judicious. Is that true?
I went because this is a hardworking, data-driven podcast. I went and looked at the 20. Yeah. I looked at the 2026 class. MSU has offered only 9 5-star prospects. Pretty good, right, Mike Jones?
I think that validates that they are selective in their offers. And that they're not offering people that they don't think are a cultural fit of some kind or another. So,
well, There is another data point in this. Again, data-driven podcast. There are only 33 total 5-stars in the 2026 class. So about, fully, 1/3 of them are offered, or just thereabouts. Does that change your hypothesis at all?
I guess one might say that MSU has been such loud donkey shit for.
Who says that? May I just, would you help me? What's the etymology of that term? Like, where did this come? Is this the first time a human being has uttered that?
So
what's wrong with you?
One might say that. And so maybe a team like MSU should be offering all the 5 stars.
There you go. All right. Well, now,
I mean, someone might just say that.
With the fan base, I know, I get it. We want juice. This is something, but like, I still understand why the fan base is a little tensed up about this whole situation. I get
you
it.
Cannot be last in the Big Ten in recruiting.
Mm-mm.
I mean, we'll see it where it. I mean, we're a long way from signing day, but this feels like, hey man, you got to be top half. Like, you can be top half and still be developmental. Those things can coexist.
I mean, let's go back. Let's do the business of where we landed for last year. And there were a lot of excuses made. It was 16th of 18.
Can't stack that.
You can't do that. It's just like, it can't be done. It's rough. There's just no excuses to be made for it. Like, there's not a lot of indication that we're going to go jetting up this list, that it's just like, oh wait, we're like a tiger in the long grass.
Right.
I think we'll be thrilled to end up top 2/3.
Both.
Yeah. Which is where Michigan is at, by the way, right now. But
that'll change.
Yeah. USC is just murdering it right now. And I know as a program, they do that every single year, but it's weird to see them up there. Illinois has got 2 4-stars and 14 3-stars. Normally I would be like, not that impressive, but like, we are so desperate right now. That's what our class is going to end up looking like. So at least they've got it now, and they're sort of like choosing their 3 stars instead of waiting until down the road where you're just taking what's left.
Yeah.
I mean, Rutgers has 4 4-stars.
Yep. It's not great. I don't know what to do about it, but we'll see. Like, look, I think it is fair to say, last year, Sheehan harps on this a lot, but last year, Jonathan Smith had a very high close rate for official visits. I want to say he closed like 80% of the kids that he brought on campus for official visits. So maybe, that said, you look at the list of official visitors, and I don't know that anyone's
that surprised that that's what the close rate is.
Yeah, not feeling a little tinkle in the pants right now over that list. So it's I don't know. No, whatever. Like, win games, sign kids, win games, sign more kids. Like, I think that's where we're at. And so at some point in time, a coach needs to steal you a handful of wins. And this is his year to do it.
I'm just going to say it again. I don't think that Jonathan Smith is on the hot seat. I don't think he needs to be on the hot seat. But my hope for him is that he takes the wins that we deserve program-wise and then just steals a few more. That is the Mark D'Antonio model. Operate at the level that MSU is supposed to operate at, and then just grab a game or 2 every year. And you do that, you're a 10-11 win a year program. So let's get going. Let's go.
And
Let's do that.
he's got a decent schedule to do that this
to
year.
work with. Right.
No Oregon, no Ohio State, I believe. So, time's now, man. But we'll be back to chat more teenage boys as they commit over the course of the summer. Should we chat about that now? By the way, programming note.
Yeah. What do you want to do? Go. Us chatting. Yeah. Let's go ahead.
So I think for the remainder of the summer, or at least TBD, but we're gonna try and go every other week. I think there is just not enough for us to feel like we're putting together a compelling podcast, and so obviously if it's a big week, or like the house settlement comes down or something, we might hop on, but generally speaking, we're going to try and make it every other week. Speaking of which, that hasn't happened yet, which is wild.
What's that?
The house settlement still hasn't been approved.
Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah. And we're really coming down to it, aren't we?
Yeah. But Greg, we've got some scheduling updates besides our podcast for the football team. Yeah.
Yes, the most important thing is that Western is moving till Friday night, and that happens every year, and it happens again this year. So I think we debate the whole move to Ford Field thing. I think everyone likes the Friday night game to kick off the season. I certainly do. It gives you your whole weekend. So I'm happy to see that once more, and I think this should just be like a permanent thing for the program. What do you think?
If the season moves up, does it change your opinion at all?
If the season moves up a week?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's about the holiday weekend. So it's more about the holiday weekend game being a Friday night.
Okay. So that you'd want to keep that one a Friday night. And so even if it moved up a week, that home opener will be a Saturday. Yeah,
the important thing is that it's the holiday, and that's a Friday night game. That's what I care about.
Yep.
Do you agree? Do you disagree?
No, I would agree. I think some people would say that the first weekend, it's just about like get the game in, and then you can kind of enjoy the whole weekend, sort of college football. But I would kind of push back and say that would be true of the second weekend too.
Yeah.
So, maybe MSU should just always play on Friday.
Well, I mean, that does seem to be happening, generally speaking. So, sure. Let's go.
Of course, the largest news is that Jay Batt from Georgia Tech is now MSU's athletic director. The Board of Trustees did vote on that this evening, yeah?
They did. Well, I don't know if they had like a personnel action meeting this evening, but yes, it does seem to be official.
What do we know about Jay Batt?
Well, here's what we know about Jay Batt. You ready? Formerly, most probably well known, or what people are talking about, is he is currently the AD at the Ja Tech. And he has raised something like 300 out of 500 million for the Full Steam Ahead campaign, which is just Georgia Tech's general athletic campaign. So people do like that. He was at Eastern Carolina before this. And then before that, he was a deputy AD at Bama, where he was also well known for his capital campaign. So didn't he fundraised a bunch for the stadium redo there? I think just general campus athletic stuff. He was well known for that. So that's what this was for, right? That's what we were told. That's all we heard through the grapevine, was that this is all driven by money. And now, here we are, guy that has money attached to his CV, and he can definitely raise funds for himself. As we referenced in the cold open, looks like he's getting paid something like depends on where you're seeing it reported, but something like $1.5 to $1.8 million a year, which is
That's
a
nice.
significant jump from Alan Haller. And we get a 43-ish year old dude making bank on campus. So we're happy for him about that.
Is he going to move in next to Izzo? Because I believe if you cross the once you're into seven figures, you just have to live in that neighborhood.
Yeah, there is. It's really only White Hills where you go. So yeah, there it is. I mean, this happened fast. Were you expecting this to happen this fast? I mean, we were just talking about Alan Haller getting canned like 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago.
No, I thought we probably would be looking around July, beginning of July for this to happen. I do, I have to say, my favorite thing is MSU Twitter suddenly becoming experts on athletic directors. Because, did I mention to you that I met this dude named Jay Batt? And I'd never fucking heard of him before. Like, the idea that anybody has ever talked to a Jay Batt or knows anything about Jay Batt or like he was not on anybody's radar.
This reminds me of election night, and you see like Twitter handles that are talking about like movies every day, but then every 4 years they're like, I hear there's a tranche of vote in Philadelphia that's due. That county, whatever county is it's always a late count in that county. There's another tranche of vote that can be like, shut up. You don't know. We are not in a position to evaluate this dude. If you've got insider information, good for you. Reach out. But like even like our newspapers, the news, the state news, the LSJ, you go and you look at those articles written about this guy. They borrow.
They're copy and paste of the AP.
They borrow heavily from his bio over at Georgia Tech. Like everything that they call out is right from that one document. So like even the journalists don't know. Just say you don't know. Just say sounds good. Sounds encouraging. If you get insider information, we're happy for you and do reach out.
But even still, how would you know whether it's a good hire here?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we were relatively pleased with the Jonathan Smith hire.
Yeah.
I'm not displeased, but we did spend the first portion of this podcast saying, hey man, looks like you kind of suck. Maybe stop sucking. I just Jay spent a fair amount of time down in the South. Yeah. He looks like truly the poster boy of a frat dude from the SEC.
Bro, he reminds me a lot of, I really didn't understand, what Clemson folks were like. I if that's what you wanted, you got it.
Yeah. I just, for those saying this is a great hire, who's the athletic director of Nebraska?
Yeah.
Like, can you name that person? Who's the AD of Baylor? Like, you don't know these people. And so, but yes, I did hear a chat he was giving about fundraising that I thought was, it's an AD's version of coach speak, but talking about relationships and the idea that when you go to ask for money, it can't be the first time that somebody's heard from you, and that seems like it will resonate with the pissy billionaires here. But and hopefully also resonate with those mid-level donors that we need more engagement out of.
So speaking of just admitting when we don't know, I spaced on Auburn for a second there. I said Clemson. I meant Auburn. When I was down in Atlanta, I got to see what Auburn Southern boys in their actual environment look like. And this dude has that exact vibe.
He looks like a man who will send back a sweet tea for not being to his specifications.
It's not the right mix. It's not the right mix. You gotta have the right mix. But listen, we'll find out. And what everyone wanted was a fundraiser, and here we are. We'll see. But as we talked about a couple weeks ago, there are only so many places that you can go to raise funds at MSU. We kind of know where all of them are. And
yeah.
We're fighting a war on 4 fronts right now between the Total University campaign, the football stadium, the new additional, like, whatever you want to call it.
New stadium.
The new stadium thing. And then spacing on whatever the 4th one is. I'm doing a lot of spacing. Let's have more spacing on the podcast. This is a pro spacing.
We should cut this, send it out to potential marijuana advertisers.
Mm-hmm. We are your people. I just don't know how much there is to be taken from that well. A couple of years ago, here's what I'll say. A couple of years ago, it looked like there was going to be a war between United Wholesale Mortgage and Rocket Mortgage, because there's a lot of alums, not just at the very top, but like throughout the leadership hierarchy of both those organizations. That hasn't proven itself to be true. Like, has Dan Gilbert, as far as we're aware, the richest man in the state, given another dime to MSU athletics since he put his name on the Breslin Center edition?
I believe I sent it over to you both, but the news just released top 20 donors for MSU through this fiscal year.
Mm-hmm.
And confirming here, but
yeah, he's not on that list.
No,
I think that list is a little sus. I'm not sure I love that list. It's concerning more than anything. And explain to the listeners, Jonesy, what's on that list.
Yeah, so more than supposedly more than 6,900 individuals have contributed more than a combined $44 million to Michigan State's athletic department this fiscal year. The top 20 donors, do you want me to just run through them super fast? Or I'll run through until we get through. Yeah, so
give us the names. Don't
Sekia
do the institutional Family Foundation stuff. Yeah.
Well, Sekia's, then Joan Sekia. Combined between the two of them, by the way, $10 million of that $44 million.
But we know that $5 million from Joan Sekia is for tennis. She's taken a shine to that program. But continue.
Well, then that's whatever. Matt Ish is around 4. James Passant, who I've never heard of, is 1.4. Justin Ish, 1.3, and then I was surprised to see Fidelity. I know you said skip them, but like $750,000. I was surprised to see that.
Well, Fidelity and Vanguard are there, and I think those come from institutional investors. I don't think that's Fidelity as those are holders of Fidelity accounts making contributions, because you can contribute just in stocks. I'm guessing that's what that is.
Well, there's a Vanguard charitable endowment program, so I don't know.
Yeah.
But also, a little concerning also is that Tom Izzo and Draymond Green are number 17 and 18 on that list.
And give the dollar amounts for those?
Tom is approximately $300,000 and Draymond is $275,000.
That was what concerned me about this list. It's like the numbers get low fast.
Yeah, you'll notice that number 6 was so we went from 1.3 to $750,000. That's a pretty steep
cliff. Substantial jump, yeah. And we know that Joan Sekia donation is just for the tennis facility.
Tennis.
Yeah. So
great.
Yeah, you get a fundraiser, and I keep hearing this like, oh, so and so is a great fundraiser. Money is just going to show up. They had success doing blank wherever. I don't know, man. I don't know.
I mean,
Can he activate it? I think there is money to be pulled from here. There's a lot of alums. We had this conversation last week. There's a lot of alums that have nice jobs, and then there's a lot of very rich alums. Can he activate it?
who's the rich alum that sits courtside?
What do you mean?
Starts with an S. Who's the other?
Scandalaris?
Yeah, not on this list.
I mean, this goes to show that this is not necessarily, these are not NIL contributions. These are not like related to your seats or your suite or anything like that. The accounting on this list, I think, is a little bit sus.
Well, rarely will I give credit to the Detroit News, but in fairness to them, they can only get the records that FOIA gives them access to. So,
sure. Yep,
they couldn't find an NIL number because the other billionaires also not on this list. Who's the other dude who runs charitable giving?
Yeah.
Same with the Spartan Dog for Life guy, not on this list.
I think he's out of the game.
Maybe he was never a billionaire. Anyway,
he was probably not ever a billionaire. Listeners, it's hard to run a private company and still be a billionaire. That's a lot of money you got to make.
Yeah. Need that capital. All right. Look, Jay, welcome. Glad you've opted to wear the green and white for however long you're here. I'm starting to feel like the shelf life on ADs is relatively short. So
there is one thing to discuss on this that I'm interested in your take on. We got a couple Southern boys here.
You and me?
Yes. Kevin G comes from Carolina. Jay comes from Bama / Georgia Tech. We're getting what we wanted. MSU is hiring outside of the core group, and it's paying well to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think we'll get what we want in the long term? Do you think we'll get like an injection of new ideas, an injection of some fresh blood? Is this going to move things? Is this going to end up actually moving the needle? Do you think?
I'll tell you what. I know nothing about Jay Blatt other than apparently, or whatever the fuck his name is, other than he has in the past raised a bunch of money for places. But I do know that Alan Haller, unfortunately, seemed to not be leading in a time where, in a time of uncertainty, and seemed to be, it's not that he was kicking and screaming into the modern day, but like just didn't seem to position himself to be nimble. And so will Jay be more successful than Alan Haller in that regard? I don't know. But I do know that that's a possibility now, whereas it seemed like it was really unlikely that was going to happen under Alan Haller. So, and I really do want to revisit for a second, because I do think it's worth mentioning that I don't say that to besmirch Alan Haller.
Right.
Half of it seems like the shows we've done lately have been bitching and moaning about the state of college athletics. And so I do think Alan Haller would have been a fantastic AD at one point in time.
Right. Like we said a couple of weeks ago, like 1992 best possible AD. Guy that maybe actually cares. Guy that's involved. Yeah. Maybe even 2015.
But I just I say all of that to say I feel, I don't know whether we're in a better position or not. I do know it's possible we are, and that is different.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. Do you think this is better? I mean, he's coming from the ACC, which I have a whole host of doubts about anyone who might have signed that grant of rights.
Well, it seems like we could have gotten him a little bit cheaper than 1.8 if we're getting him out of the ACC and into the Big Ten. I don't know if there was like a bidding war that was happening. I won't pretend to know the other AD roles that were open across the country, but it's a big jump from what Alan Haller was getting paid to this dude. And it's a big jump. You might be like, well, we were underpaying Alan Haller because and we could get him for that. It's also a big jump from his Georgia Tech salary to what we're getting for him now.
What was he making there?
It was close to Alan Haller. It was like a mil, basically, or like 1.1 or 1.2 with escalators or something like that.
The buyout better be insane. I'll just say that, as in, if another school comes shopping, because he's not going to have another satisfactory sweet tea in his motherfucking life. Like,
it's not going to happen up here.
Right. No, that's my point. Is he's not going back home. Like the amount that a school would have to pay us to take him from us better be objectively insane.
I don't know anything about the sweet teas that are being served in the suites, but I can't imagine that they're as good as at Georgia Tech, you know? So, we'll see. It's money well spent. If he can get the NIL collectives to work with one another, or at least not actively hate one another, which is what it kind of seems like we're at right now.
Send an email.
Or if he can send an email, or if he can activate the richest man in the state that has unlimited money. Not to make this podcast the reacts to Graham Couch and everything he writes or says podcast, but he had a take this week that I disagreed with, which was basically it boiled down to, if your billionaires are really good at NIL, that's bad or stupid, or you shouldn't be proud of it because you'd have to be an idiot to donate to NIL.
Right. Wait, he was talking about you.
Yes, that's me. I'm that one. I would argue, actually, though, Couch, I'm the greatest idiot of them all, because I make NIL contributions, however modest they may be, as much as we joke about them, but I still need to make ends meet. Like, I still need to, I get bills at the end of the day. I have a day job. I'm the stupidest one. If you're a billionaire and this money means truly nothing to you, then paying $1 million or $5 million, or if you're worth a lot of billions, $10 million is nothing when it compares to my identity, and what gives me joy is attached to Michigan State athletics. And I can't spend this money in 1,000 lifetimes, but in this one, I can give it to young men, and then they will go win games, and then my brain receptors will like, I think it's actually, if you're a billionaire, I think NIL is money well spent if you care about winning games at that school, because it drops right to the bottom line for that. He was making arguments of like, it's not tax exempt money, blah, 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 blah.
Who gives a shit?
Billionaire, you don't need $2 million in tax exempt money. What you need is guys to go win your team games so that your brain goes crazy and you feel powerful. That's what you need. So yeah. I disagree with him entirely on that premise. The stupid one, because that $60 could go to use in my home or around my community, or like something I could find better use for that money every month. But a billionaire truly can't, unless all you can do to feel something, anything, is the team that you've attached yourself to wins. Who cares if it's tax exempt or not? Who cares what the dollar amount is up until you're up in the like tens or whatever, dozens of millions of dollars? who cares if it makes you feel good?
I mean, to your point, actually, the argument, he might as well make the same point about buying a Bugatti.
Yeah.
Or, like, how often do we see representations in pop culture or not even pop culture, but like through history of rich people, like hunting other humans, right? Or like bringing
It's
people
a
off the
good point.
street to dinner, right? Like they just
we should
need to
all be
feel
thrilled
something.
that NIL exists so that these people aren't playing the most dangerous game. It's like it's its own above board most dangerous game. And we should just be thrilled that that outlet is there for them now. Where Matt Ishbia doesn't need to hunt someone in the Arizona desert. He could just waste a little bit of money on whomever instead.
Truly.
I don't know. I thought that it was an interesting argument, maybe for a guy that knows MSU and knows the community, but also isn't a Spartan at the same time.
Right.
Because I get it, and I think you get it, and I think the listeners would get it, but I don't think Graham would get it.
Yeah. So I like he needs to find whatever it is that touches that joy, that like that euphoria.
Yeah.
That
whatever that is for him.
And the feeling of seeing Kenneth Walker rip off that 75-yard run, and you're like, holy shit, we might be really good this year. There's nothing like that. Or Rocket or Little Giants, right? Like there's nothing like that.
And we listen to enough Couch of the Rube that we should be able to like place this for him and be like, this is the thing.
Torquay United, it's his tiny ass soccer club that he gives a shit about.
Imagine that you're a true billionaire. Money doesn't matter to you at all. And just losing what is from your today, like $10. That's what it would be to a billionaire. Whatever you
will make it back in the market that year.
Yep. You could just throw that money away, and then all of a sudden your brain could feel good because your team is winning at an alarming level. Like, who even cares that you spent relatively $1 and, Madi Sissoko sucks? Like, who cares about that? Who truly, who cares? It doesn't matter. It matters to you and me, that amount of money. But like, so I don't know.
Yeah, I will say, I think it's totally fair that people of that wealth level, that we should expect and hope until we decide to tax them, that they also contribute meaningfully to their communities and to the greater good also, right? Mm-hmm. Like, it would be a bit of a bummer if you had a disgusting level of wealth and you gave no money to charity, but all you did was give to NIL.
Yeah.
That would be odd.
That would be concerning in many ways. Yes, absolutely.
But at the same time, again, if this prevents you from playing the most dangerous game, then by all means, do what you have to do.
Right.
Anyway.
And don't get that upset if Madi Sissoko or Xavier Booker just is no more. Anyway, let's move on.
Yeah, leave the anger to Plum. That's the point.
Leave the anger to Plum. I can't summon that forth. Jonesy, tell me, picture this. I have unlimited resources. I'm a super billionaire. And I can only eat one place in Grass Lake, Michigan. Mm-hmm. Where would that be?
Well, let me ask you this. Are you the kind of billionaire who would not give money to MSU athletics unless it was tax deductible?
Yeah, I am actually. I'm very stingy for no reason. I'm a
perfect.
This is like a Sam Walton situation.
Then I can help, because what you should do is you should roll up on Mama's Mercantile and Eatery.
Oh,
open the door and pronounce "can't read, can't write." There will be questions, but you will get 10% off of your invoice Invoice, check, whatever.
But
Bill.
yes, I know. Before I was the one that couldn't think good, and now here we are. Invoice,
I think
invoice,
I
check,
had myself in the head of a
bill.
billionaire, and everything is an invoice to them.
Everything's an invoice. Yes, indeed. Yep.
uh,
Because
but
when you're a titan of industry, you're authorizing every invoice. It comes across your desk. Yes, you're. Who needs accountants?
anyway, roll into Mama's Mercantile and Eatery. It's great food, great environment, great drinks. Truly, the specials are incredible. If you get the chance to try uh, the brunch there, it is fantastic. I have not had a bad thing on that menu. Mention can't read, can't write, as I said before. You get 10% off your bill. Kevin's been there. Plum's been there. We love Mama's Mercantile and Eatery.
Not only have I been there, the last time I was there, the person that was serving us, she was great. She did a fantastic job. At the end, she was like, "Oh, you guys get that podcast discount, right?" And I was like, "Yes, we do." As I hid my face, I said, "That's correct. Yes, yes, we do. Thank you for remembering us. Thank you for recognizing us. Thank you for the discount. We'll take that. Thank you. Bye. We'll tip you. We'll tip you like we didn't get that 10% off. All right. Thank you. Bye."
and then, and then you use that savings to pay for your SD4L or whatever it's called
Correct.
membership.
Straight into it. So that would be, instead of $50 that month, that would have been like $52.14 or whatever, or something like that.
Anyway, check out Mama's Mercantile and Eatery, Grass Lake, Michigan. You can Google it for the address, I've been assured. And if you go to mamasmerc.com, you can check out their menus, order online, and more.
You can order online?
Yeah, they have online ordering.
For our listenership that lives in Grass Lake, they can order online?
Or is, I believe, visiting the area, you know?
Oh, that's true. You could land at DTW, put in the order, start heading west, and probably pick it up right in time, basically. Like, once you get
right
in
off
your
of 94.
Car. Yeah.
Truly.
People should do that.
Or you might be staying in like because I think they've got rentals there, like cottages and stuff. Or there's plenty of camping, car camping. Yeah, lots to do in the area. Check it out. Truly, like, not bullshit. Good food. All right, should we do these social media questions?
Let's do the social media questions. First up, Mike Jones. Jason, there it is. There's the J. Jason Batt looks to be our next athletic director. How is Plum related to him? Good comedy. Very good.
It's his uncle, cousin, thrice removed on his mother's side.
Plum did spend time in the South, so possibility. Real possibility. People are saying.
I do believe he also tripped him one time while they were both in Atlanta. Just didn't hold the door, kind of
great.
Knocked it
so over. We have that to deal with. Next up from Mike Jones, going live, ? Like, can I shit talk you guys on YouTube while on air?
Never. We're never going to do that. The day we do that, we're truly doing something charitable or have decided to change the format of the podcast.
I think we could have been talked into that if YouTube had ever caught on. But again, only a diminishing percentage of you use YouTube, even though we continue to take the time to film ourselves doing this. That's a conversation for a family talk on our side. Next up from Jason Fry, can we do Q&A with the new AD where questions are asked via Twitter/Blueski called Matt? That's pretty good, actually, Jason Fry. That's so good comedy. That's two good comedies in a row.
If he doesn't, does he have that handle? If he doesn't, he needs to pay for that.
Huge mistake.
Yeah.
Huge mistake.
And also not a sports guy then if he doesn't have that. Like, it's so obvious.
Also, speaking of at bat, people, and I was seeing online speculating about like, Jonathan Smith, new sheriff in town. I was like, at bat is coming for baseball, if anything.
Yeah.
I would be way more worried about the non-revenue producing sports right now than I would be about Jonathan Smith. Next up from Jason Fry, in light of last week's Verizon internet debacle, can Plum Alex Bluesky do a not a sponsor ad for them? Plum gets a lot of mentions in this week's Twitter questions, and
I wonder why people keep coming to him when he's so rarely here.
so little they care for us and prefer us is that they'll roll the dice to get a little Plum, and they'll come up wanting. In this case, Jason Fry.
I should also say, ends up being it wasn't actually Verizon's fault. Not that anyone cares, but if you are watching on YouTube, you'll note format looks a little different, and it's because the issue was with our the company we use to record the podcasts. So that was great. But I did net out financially to my advantage. So
attaboy.
Yeah.
Can we do a different version of this? Can you give us the actual tongue lashing that you gave Verizon Internet that got you that financial consideration? Like, what did you say to them when you called them up?
Well, so I called on Memorial Day, I believe, or it was, because they were closed. And so at this point in time, I believe I was on my fourth call and like had a vein bulging, because Verizon makes you go through this AI thing that tries to fix it for you.
But AI agents are the future of technology on planet Earth, and I would have thought that would have been a great experience for you as a customer.
Yeah, and so it forces you to pick among really trivial options as to what's going on with your situation. And for anyone who cares, and I know none of you do, but I had a very acute problem of I had a large number of my data packets were being lost in transmission between my Wi-Fi router and the computer. And so I kept trying to say that, and it wouldn't let me. And it's like, do you have an internet connection issue? Can you not connect to the internet? Like, web pages are slow. Like, and then of course it runs its diagnostic, and it's like, yep, there's a problem. Can't figure out what the fuck it is. Have you tried unplugging your router? As if I hadn't done that. So I called on the fourth time, and I said, I'd like to cancel. And it said, why? And I said, because you have a dog shit product. And they're like, we'll have someone call you on Monday or on Tuesday. Said individual called, and it's pretty clever because they got me to calm down a little bit. And dear listener, I worked plenty of retail, and I fully understand that I don't typically take this out on an individual. But I did say, dear Sally, I need you to understand how angry I am about this situation, and that I cannot talk to a human being. So if this does not get fixed, I'm canceling my service.
Did you call the AI agent Dear Sally?
No. This was the callback I got from a human being. Yeah. And so I told Sally that yes, that the service issue is hard enough, but the inability to speak to a human being is truly what made me lose my mind. And so she said, great, I'm going to give you a discount on your bill and then a one-time credit on top of that. And then also here's the direct number for human beings in the future, so you never have that problem again.
What? Really?
Yeah. So I actually kind of have to shout out Verizon this week in that,
it went the other way, Jason Fry. We were not expecting that. That's wild.
Yeah, so, I was so angry, and when she's like, I'm going to take money off of your bill and then give you a one-time discount on top of that, and I was like, I feel seen right now. And then the hilarious thing is that, again, it was not actually Verizon's fault.
Maybe that's the true agentic future that we're all about to deal with. AI agents will waste our time, and then humans will come in and make it seem reasonable, and expectations will have been reset, and you'll just be like, I'm so thrilled to have talked to a real human being. And then, twist, that human being, Sally, AI agent the whole time.
Yeah.
Good cop, bad cop. Who knew?
Yeah.
All right, next up from Stupid to Shardy, looking like it'll be the GT athletic director. If you hadn't already discussed it, initial thoughts. If you have discussed it, can you tell Graham to stop telling MSU fans to not care or have expectations about the football team? Thanks. I think we did both of these, actually, in certain ways.
Yeah. And also, I do think Graham believes that we should have expectations, right? Like, I don't think he's saying not to.
Yeah, but I think he's saying, give it a minute. Give it a minute.
Yeah. And you know, for that reason, but Graham, stop telling fans how to feel. Do that. But
sorry for the delay. I had a beer delivery, so I had to go grab
you're
that.
Totally fine. I was like, why are you giving me the timeout signal? It really threw me
because I had to go to the other side of that door. Listeners, if I open this door, again, YouTube, nobody watches, but if I open it up, it's just beer fridge behind it. Actually, so
it's honestly the nicest feature of his house.
Yep.
So,
it does mean that I have to go and like scale down the roof and come in through the window to get back into this room, but
worth it.
I do get a beer fridge right there, and it's filled with Grand Armory's Wheezin' the Juice, which is a fine beverage that I recommend.
Not a sponsor. Should be a sponsor.
Yeah.
Anyone knows anyone at Grand Armory, have them reach out.
Yep. All right. Next up, thank you, Super Sharding. Next up from Thomas. It sounds like Ford Field is on the table for the last game of the season whenever the team might not be good enough to draw at least a middling crowd to an outdoor senior day. How long until the fan base grows to hate those games? 2, because it means the team's probably going 4-8. Interesting take from Thomas there, that we'll start to resent it because if the athletic department makes that call, it means that expectations are low. What do you think about that?
I don't know. My understanding is that they're supposed to make money on this game even when we suck. So
I would like to see the accounting of how all that works.
Totally fair. But let's assume for the sake of argument that we do make money on it. Mm-hmm. Then I would like to believe that we would just sell more seats if we were good. I know how you feel. I understand the arguments that people have made. I don't disagree with them about how much it costs the local economy. Like, I get it. I also can appreciate that it's a opportunity when you tend to have alums back in town, and they're in the most, and it's around a time when you have family obligations, that this is an event that might do well.
Yeah. I have to admit, not everyone lives in East Lansing. When college football is being played on Thanksgiving weekend, which we have always maintained that it should not be played on Thanksgiving weekend.
That's another solution to all of this.
I can understand why this is more appealing. I'm in the minority living here. I get it.
Oh,
fine.
Like let college hoops have that weekend.
Yep. Yeah.
Like anyway.
It bums me out because I've had great experiences at that game at the end of the year. But I have to admit when I'm wrong about something. Everyone else seems to like it. I should just get on board. Next up from Thomas, Jonesy, what's the longest bike ride you've ever taken?
I don't know. Probably something I did. Like I was probably like a kid.
I did some like camping bike rides that were long. I've never been a big like bike ride guy. This is going to astonish listeners, but it's maybe like 3 hours or something like that, or like 5 hours. There's no
that
way
rowing
that it's
machine
more
though
than
in
that.
your...
Yeah, and you know what the longest row I've ever done is? 3 hours. 5 hours. No, absolutely. Be like 15 minutes probably as long as.
Like,
the
holy
beauty of having the
shit.
rowing machine in your house is take a break. Why? You're in the middle of the lake. You're not going to die if you don't keep rowing. Roll off that thing.
See,
Next
that
up,
we need to put you in the most dangerous game for
that's
exercise.
right.
We need
That's
to
what
take
we
you
need
out
to
to
do.
the middle of the
Yes.
lake and say, Kevin.
And have Matt Ishbia hunt me. And next up from Beth, I'm planning to visit Michigan this summer and considering a side trip to Grass Lake. Other than treating myself to a great meal, what is there to do in the 49240? I you know what, Beth? I got your slight there at the end. I did. The zip code. I heard you. I see you.
I'm gonna go ahead and say you're not far from Chelsea. So you could go to the Purple Rose Theater.
Yeah.
And check out the Jeff Daniels show, maybe.
I'm looking at the outline on Google Maps of the 49240, and let me tell you, there is nothing to do in that zip code. If we're gonna take her question literally, it would have to be camping. You could also, I might recommend just drowning yourself in Portage Lake. That might be the next best fun thing to do. I'm sure there's golf courses. Listen, Beth, I don't know if you golf, but if you do, and I bet you're not taking your sticks, rent some, I guess. Golf has got to be the next best thing after Mama's Mercantile. Because rough, just a rough outline. Like, this is truly no man's land.
Greg, next up from Spartan 18770, should Jonathan Smith be updating his LinkedIn profile tonight, or is he safe until the midterm?
Ooh, Spartan 18770, appreciate the question. I stand by what I said before. I would be much more concerned if I were Jake Buss than being Jonathan Smith. Because people that have said on the record that they are going to need to find new ADs if they want to cut additional sports. There's a new AD in town, which means no one's professionally put themselves out there or put their neck on the line to not cut those sports. So I think that's going to happen sooner rather than later. I don't know, Jonesy, if you disagree with that or not, but it seems like we're due for more swimmings to happen. Next up from the Key Ski, Plum, not here. Do you ref high school or lower level soccer? What's the most unhinged thing you saw a parent do during a match? Plum is not here, although I'm curious,
we'll save
Jonesy.
This one.
What is the craziest thing you've ever seen a parent? Have you ever seen like a parent go absolutely nuts at a game or something like that?
Only on videos. I'm trying to think. I used to umpire a fair amount. I don't think I ever tossed a parent.
I was at the East Lansing Ice Cube doing curling that exists in East Lansing.
Why have we not done that?
Oh, well, we should, well, it's kind of actually hard to get ice time. You have to like be there at exactly the right time with the with the Lansing Curling Club, but we'll look into it. And there are signs on the officials' boxes because it happens on, it's not actually curling ice, it's hockey ice, that say parents are not allowed here. And I have to imagine that those signs were put up for a reason.
Yeah. Like, I also feel like you're teaching the wrong lesson as a parent. I'll just say as an aside.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you're really teaching the wrong lesson to your kid. So,
yep.
Next up from the Key Ski, you have to go back to school for a bachelor's degree in 2025. What's your major and what will your ending GPA be?
Kevin? Do you have one for this?
Spanish.
So for you, 0.5 GPA, basically, then at the end of that?
I do feel like I can say with some confidence that if I was going to go back to school now, I would do way better than I did as a
Sure.
teen to early 20-year-old. And I probably would have more fun also.
You
I
think
feel relatively
you're more evolved than you were
yeah.
at that age? Congratulations.
Uh, honestly, I probably would get a journalism degree.
Wow.
Yeah.
You want it to be even worse than it is right now. Okay.
I mean, I
Great.
don't know. Like, am I restarting? Like, what am I going for? Um, I don't like. They don't make a degree for what I do now, so and
Good point.
I'm not getting a computer science degree. Like, fuck that.
Yeah,
like,
no, that's not happening.
so yeah, I'm not doing packaging. No math for me. Just no math. What are you doing?
I'm not upset with how things turned out, so that's a good start. Would be happy to do another econ degree. That'd be fine.
Yeah,
I
that'd be a
think
good one.
I'm packaging. Not an awful choice, actually. Maybe send that packaging degree over here. I can go move off to Minneapolis with all of my classmates after graduation and
Go work
work
for
for the
Target.
3M Corporation or
Oh,
whatever it was.
3M.
Yeah. That did seem like, hey, it seems like immediately that Kiski, this is a great question for like immediately after graduation. Seemed like packaging was a bit of a cheat code. Seemed like supply chain was a bit of a cheat code.
Mm-hmm.
There were a few where it was just like didn't matter who you were going to
You
go
got a
get a
job.
pretty good job, and those
Yeah.
people still seem to be doing just fine. Next up from Gramanito Couch for Plum, not here. What's the worst mistake you made reffing a soccer game that neither team noticed and that you thought you'd be able to take it to your grave until I asked this question?
Well, so I asked Alex this,
Oh.
and I'm not going to play the voice note. Um, but he says, I had a game once in a league that had an overtime rule, and I think it was like a 10-point differential was required, and the square operator at one point added 2 goals as instead of 1 after a goal was scored by my I can't there's no punctuation on a voice note translation or so anyway, the point being is that it was like 10-0 when it sounds like it shouldn't have been. So he just ended the game, even though it technically should have resumed. Um, uh, but no one noticed, and he probably feels like he should have ethically kept it going, but did not.
So mercy rule, where it was actually 9-0 instead of 10-0, as if that matters in soccer, which it does not.
Right.
Great. All right, next up from Mama Maple Leaf. Mama Leaf, whoa. Governor Whitmer decides not to remove trustees Vassars and Deno. We could have done this off Grand River, but we didn't. So what does it take to be held accountable in this day and time? Maybe it's his name, ex-football coach will be held accountable, and then the earth returns to balance.
I assume she's referring to
maybe
Mel.
what's his name, ex-football coach will be held accountable. She's talking about Mel Tucker. Accountability for Mel Tucker means not getting paid money. So I don't know how we do accountability, but
also Monopoly. I hate to say it, but like if your barometer for people being held accountable in this day and time are trustees Vassar and Deno, I direct you to the national news for people just not being held accountable.
yeah.
So I mean it. I'm certainly disappointed, but
well, this week is the Mackinac Policy Conference, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Sure. What does that mean?
Well, some James Madison student over there, by the way.
Is that where Plum is?
I don't know why I'm bothering to look this up. Either it is or it isn't. I think it just ended. Anyway, so the Mackinac Policy Conference, for those that aren't familiar, is basically all of anyone that matters, which is why we're not there, goes up to Mackinac Island and goes to the Grand Hotel and the other hotels, and then they just sort of like talk and mostly just drink and then like interact with whatever that might mean, for a week, basically. And it reminds me that this was always going to end up happening because there just was not enough political backlash for the governor to go removing two people, especially one of whom, Vassar, her husband, as I understand it, very well connected in Lansing. And if there was no upside for Governor Whitmer and just a downside for removing them, this was the outcome. We didn't write enough letters. We didn't put enough pressure on her. No one really cared all that much. And here we are.
Also, sometimes do you think that there's an issue of a great number of the people who probably really cared about this may also have already liked Whitmer. Mm-hmm. It's not like they weren't going to vote for her, constituency or, her party.
Right. There's also no precedent for a governor of the state of Michigan to remove a trustee or regent or whatever you want to call them. So like it has to be kind of above and beyond. And it didn't happen in this case. And we're all to blame for it. You know how politicians work, and you didn't put pressure on them.
Yeah, and Mama Leaf, I'm quite confident that if you had written a question a day to Governor Whitmer about this, it would have driven her sufficiently insane that she indeed would have removed them just to make it stop. Speaking of which, next up from Mama Leaf, Kevin, this may be her best work. A documentary is going to be made of your podcast history, and producers want to know 3 do's and don'ts. What answers do you give them, and what will you acknowledge because it's not acknowledge because it's too painful? What will you talk about? What won't you talk about? I'm going to go ahead and say we'll not talk about any number of Alex Plum cuts.
I mean, those are all 3 of the do not talk about.
Yeah.
I don't know. What are the do's of our podcast? What are the core tenets of can't read, can't write? Is there even such a thing?
The Jones theorem and the Grech postulate. I mean, I don't know.
That's about it. It used to be produce content every week, no matter what. But we just announced that we're giving up on that. That was one of the hard and fast rules. We had only violated that twice. Yeah. And now it's...
I mean, we're going to do 4 episodes in 8 weeks.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
Is there any one thing that we will not acknowledge because it's too painful?
Too painful? I don't know if there's anything too painful.
No. What's the greatest disappointment of this podcast, do you think?
Probably me as a host.
Well, yeah. Well, yeah, and a son, of course.
And a father. We've gone to, I think we talked about the time we recorded it, but didn't actually record.
I didn't actually record. That's fun.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like we've, relatively speaking, been pretty transparent on this podcast, so I don't know.
Yeah.
But this is getting into the navel gazing that you spoke about before we recorded that you loathe.
All right. Finally. I guess maybe too painful. The Upper Deck Jerk guy is coming up. I guess maybe the first time when we crossed the line and started meeting y'all folks, I didn't know what to expect. And I'm a little bit embarrassed by that now. I I
By
should
your
have
own
known.
conduct of laying on the ground.
Correct. That's part of this. But like, I should have known that like water finds its level, right? Like the people that listen to us, we're going to have a lot in common with them. They're going to be great folks. They're going to be great to hang out with. And I don't know why I had to discover that.
Yeah.
Seemed that seemed so clear in retrospect that like, why did I think it was going to be such a big jump? And that's embarrassing to me. That's one of
Mm.
my greatest embarrassments in pod history. And
There's the time you didn't buy the tickets too.
that's correct.
Same day, I believe.
I did buy the tickets. I didn't check that they had been properly redeemed and how to do that. Thank you very much.
Same day though. Same day.
Same day. Next from the Upper Deck Jerk guy, can you put together a takeoff on Bob Seger's night moves, but have it be night games instead, as in putting on the night games? Bow, bow.
And we
That's
did
all
it.
I
Next
know
up,
about that
Greg, what have you used AI for that you're most ashamed of?
Ooh, the thing that I'm most ashamed of is that I got encouraged to use it for my work at work. So I tried to do that, and then I found out it's unreliable, and I probably shouldn't have really bothered with it in the first place. I thought it was going to like solve problems. All it really does is like help you outline something. Have you found like a really good killer use for AI?
We have a handful of them. I mean, at work, we have a handful of them that are pretty cool. But I'll at least in broad strokes say that I built a GPT that I'm offloading some of my responsibilities to a different department who's not going to do anything with it. So I was able to point the GPT specifically at like the vendor help websites for the tech stack that we use, plus a whole bunch of documentation that I'd put together. So now people can just be like, how do I do this as it relates to the program? And like, it'll spit out the stuff that they...
Is it reliable though, or does it hallucinate garbage and fill in the gaps?
So I've got it set so it's not supposed to fill in the gaps. If it's got a gap, it's supposed to escalate, to encourage people to escalate either to myself or the Slack channel. And then I've done confidence scoring on it. So anything below 80%, it should not provide the answer, or rather, I'm sorry, it's supposed to provide its confidence score when providing that answer, so people can follow up where they need to. So the confidence scoring actually helps out a lot, so people can understand the value of the information that's being spit out. So anyway, otherwise, most embarrassing thing, I don't know, I used it to design. Actually, I use it to help me shop for products a lot.
I have been told that I should be spending more time taking pictures of things that I don't know what they are and I need identifying, and just sending it to GPT. That is one area that I should be doing more.
I had it help zero in the breeds that Izzy's probably made up of.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's probably just as like accurate as the like the claimed DNA testing things.
It kept trying to give me the DNA stuff, but it was right. Like it zeroed her in on Great Pyrenees, and the vet confirmed that part because of a double dew claw she has. So
wow, look at that, GPT.
But it also kept trying to get me to use DNA testing things, and I'm like, stop selling things.
Please don't. Do you think? Wait, do you think it gets a little kickback from?
You know that's coming, right? Like that's for sure going to come.
Yep. Yeah.
Anyway, next up from the Upper guy, and last up, God forbid, but if Fears gets injured, likely a stress fracture to the foot. Fuck off, man. What will the Spartans' record be while he is out? We did not discuss, and this is the time to discuss.
Well, listen,
Wojcik.
I wouldn't worry about it, Upper Deck Jerk guy, and that is because Denim Wojcik is in town, and
What a
Denim
name.
Wojcik is here to the rescue because, as luck would have it, MSU now boasts Harvard 2024's least efficient player. Is now a team that does not have scholarships. And he didn't play last year, near as I can tell. That's all the effort I put into it.
The fringe benefits of being on Izzo's staff are wild.
Yeah, he shot 26% from 3 and 40% from 2. So good. And you would think like maybe he contributes in other ways. He didn't. He didn't. So not a help. Not a help. Except for that, he'll save the team. He'll come alive.
He will.
Linsanity.
When
sanity or something like that.
Dougie gets verbally abusive, he will be there to help the other young men.
Yep.
He's like, I go into my blackout room and break things after my dad yells at me. God, could you imagine being Denim?
Denim Wojcik. Denim.
Oh.
Not spelled like the pants, spelled D-E-N-H-A-M. Denim.
Right, because there's nothing like having people zero in on your name and be like, can you clarify the spelling on that for me?
It's like a
don't spell it that way
situation. Yeah. I would take anything away from Denim, but like this is not a plus to the team. So we didn't cover
this. This is a fringe benefit for Doug. That's what this is. And you know what? I guess if Stevie could be there, so can Denim. Greg, it's been fun. Until next time, go green.
We're bringing the juice. Go white. Michael Jones.